You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. The Glebe Central Pub is right in the heart of the Glebe. Go visit them for great food, great drinks, and awesome atmosphere. Go see them at 779 Bank Street. And the Senator Shuttle, $17 gets you round trip to and from the CTC. The next bus is going January 18th against the Montreal Canadiens. But first, the Senators have to limp home from this disastrous road trip. They are now 0-4 after a 6-3 loss to the Calgary Flames. They'll wrap it up on Thursday against the Buffalo Sabres. I'm Ross Levitan, joined with Brandon Piller. And Pillsy, the panic button has to be out after that third period.
Yeah, the panic button is out, and if it didn't take 3 weeks to ship on Amazon, I would have smashed it. Boom, panic. Like, this is just a disaster. What do we think of the loss music, everyone? Where you went with a little different vibe. We didn't want to do the danger flutes again for the losses, getting just pathetic. Where the danger flutes will not come back till we get a win. So we're going with that little creepy, sad, ominous music there. So we'll see if that changes superstitions. Much like Ross, one superstition change did not work at all today. Tim Stutzle going with the fully taped blade, kind of with the Jonathan Huberdeau switch. Huberdeau switch from black tape to white tape. He got some points, snapped a drought. So Timmy says, hey, it worked for him. I'll try it. It looked weird, him out there with that. And it felt like that didn't help him at all. This was a tough game for Timmy. And he didn't finish the game with that stick, Ross, because, he smashed it to pieces on the post after that empty net goal to put the icing on the cake. That is this Ottawa Senators embarrassing road trip.
The Ottawa Senators had 3 separate leads in this game. They score first.
Yes.
Then they score in the final 3 seconds of the first period to go up 2-1. Then they score to make it 3-2 on, a power play goal. They finally snapped the power play drought. It was the captain, Brady Tkachuk, who did just that. And then moments after doing that, he tells Claire Hanna after the second period, wow, we've got a real chance to show our maturity by having a good third period. What do? They give up a goal 47 seconds into the third period, and then the wheels completely fell off from there. It was open ice hockey, chances both ways. Ottawa had theirs. Mathieu Joseph himself had 2 breakaways in quick succession, but then once they gave up the goal that put them behind, right? Because the first one just tied it. Once Blake Coleman scored the goal 9 minutes into the period to give Calgary the lead, it was really kind of curtains from there. And that tells me a lot about this group of individuals. They're not a team. They're a group of individuals right now. They don't play for one another. It really is disheartening to see 4 goals on 10 shots from Calgary in the third period. Like, it really could not get any worse than that.
Yeah, Ross, this might be one of the worst road games they've had, not in like embarrassing fashion, just in the way that they fumbled it so many times over and over again. Like you mentioned, they had the lead a couple times. I was super stoked about the Sens getting that late goal with 3 seconds left in the first period. Like, that felt like a goal. Great job by the fourth line. Deserves a lot of credit on that. And I'll get to that more later because they do a good job cycling that puck in, and they keep the pressure enough to allow a full line change to happen on the fly in the O-zone. So that was a really good play. And then they're able to bury it with 3 seconds left, getting a momentum goal going into the first intermission. And then they have the lead again going into the next intermission. And then it's 4 unanswered goals by the Calgary Flames that ultimately allow the Flames to double up on the Sens here, 6-3.
Where do you want to take it from here, man? Like, do you want to get into the collapse? Like, for me, it was the first goal, Noah Hanifin just all alone. Like, all alone. There was no zone coverage where guys knew who was picking up who. Giroux loses the faceoff, and he kind of gets caught in no man's land there. And this is probably the one where you're like, okay, let's get a box out in front of the net because Zary took away Korpisalo's eyes. It was just a little floater backhand that ends up going in. But then from there, I mean, it just got worse.
Wait, which goal was that you were talking about, Ross?
When Hanifin walked off the wall and just put a little backhand floater in. That tied the game at 3. And then the next goal was where Coleman put home that broken play where Hanifin shoots the puck, breaks the stick, and it just goes right on. So in classic DJ tone, we didn't get the bounces tonight, Pilsy.
Yeah, it was tough, and on that fourth goal that you're mentioning, that's Brady Tkachuk not being able to clear the zone. Now it's a quick play, but still, you got to be able to get that out of there. And then, yeah, the broken stick, the bounce goes the Flames' way, if you want to say it that way. Coleman scoops up the loose puck and tucks it in past Corpusalo there. Yeah, this third period is the story of the game because the Ottawa Senators do a fine job in the first two periods. Now, were they dominating? No, but they're hanging in this game and they're up 3-2 heading into the third. And then they just let it collapse. And Brady even said it live on air. Like you mentioned, this is a chance to see this team's maturity. You've got the lead up against, maybe a Flames team that isn't top of the league contender, but that's a solid team over there. And they're coming off a road trip that didn't go their way. Coming back home, they want to make some noise in front of their fans, and they do just that, emphatically shutting this game out in the third period. Like, there's not that like drive by the Senators to play right to the end. Like it felt like, Ross, once that goal happens and the Flames are up in the third, that's it for the Sens. Curtains.
Curtains, exactly. And then they even have that play where at the end of the third period, they're already down 2, but Brady Tkachuk puts a no man's land pass right up the middle. It's turned over. It goes the other way. Then there's a little bit of a defensive, battle for the puck, and Timmy just brutal giveaway right. And at that point, I literally said, please score, because they had to make one more pass and then put it in the back of the net. But like, those are the mistakes that I want to cost them so that hopefully they get it out of their system. But it seems like it's just snowballing instead. And this team has no confidence. Whatever it is, this team simply doesn't have. Like, they just don't have that determination to get to the final horn with a full 60-minute effort. You mentioned it, lots of different moments in the game where you can be like, oh yeah, that was good. Like that fourth line where they get the ozone change. The third line comes out there. They battled through. Chychrun had a couple of great plays. Chychrun had, I bet you, those hockey stat cards that we like to pull up where it kind of matches the eye test most often. I bet you Chychrun is going to have a huge bar both ways. He did a lot of good offensively and did a lot of bad defensively in this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that, Ross. Yeah, I've been refreshing the hockey stat page trying to see if that does indeed match what we're looking at here. But yeah, kind of a weird game for Chychrun, and again, one of those goals goes off his skate, and then they're able to bury it right there. So that's a tough look. At the start of the game, he had not a giveaway, but it was
that's on Parker Kelly. That giveaway up the wall for the first goal of the game, 44 seconds after you score to open it. Like, that was just an awful clearing attempt, and he passes it backwards off of it. And it's bouncing, it's going crazy. Sure, would you like him to maybe be a bit more defensive and conservative on that instead of flying through the puck? Sure, but that goal is on Parker Kelly, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but Ross, that's a play where I would have liked Chychrun to have the awareness that the rest of the team is changing and that him being aggressive on that puck isn't the best decision there. It'd be better to be defensive and just wait and hold back and peel back. Sandy was back there, but instead, that leaves Sandy out to dry, and they're able to get that 2-on-1. Zari just rips it top shelf on Corpy and beats him easy. So an up and down game for Jacob Chychrun, which I feel like he's been having a lot of up and down games recently.
It's better than the down and down game that number 72 had in my eyes tonight.
Yeah.
Nobody was great, but I mean, he just slows everything down. It's so passive. Everything is just, how slow can we turn this play into? And I mean, the top guys were just brutal. Like, the top guys were brutal. And Matthew Joseph eating a -3 is a little tough because I thought he was a bright spot. He was using his speed, creating chances. Norris -3, more deserved. He had a couple of good scoring chances, but again, nothing substantial. Another game with no points. He's up to 7 in a row. Brady Tkachuk finally scores a goal. Defensively, complete liability. And even in the third period, they're down a goal, and he didn't go overboard, but he's still looking at revenge for a hit in the neutral zone, a clean hit. He's looking at the bench. He's trying to do something. It's like, dude, focus on your own game, please.
Yeah, I agree with most of what you said there, but I also think that this might have been Timmy's worst game in a while.
Oh,
Like,
Timmy was brutal.
he has the yips so bad. Like there was that play, I think it was in the first period where the Sens have possession and him and Giroux, no one wants to shoot it. Like Timmy does the extra pass too much and then Giroux loses it and it goes out of the zone. Like Timmy doesn't want to shoot it. It seems like he's just so down right now. And then after that terrible bouncing puck in his own end that leads to a turnover that leads to the empty net goal. I mean, mind you, I'm still blaming Timmy on that, but it's a bouncing puck, just classic. When it rains, it pours on the guy. And he was beside himself after that, like smashing his stick on the post, going back to the bench, just like twitching and like talking to himself. And then he goes out for that shift and he's just looking for blood. Jacques Martin just lets him out, kind of just to let the pony run a bit and get some steam off because he's just running around there. But that was a tough game for Timmy, and he's going to have to find a way to bounce back here.
Swanky Pants, we always appreciate the love. The guitar case is filling up because you beauties come and join us after each and every Ottawa Senators game. Win or lose, we vent or vibe. I honestly think there's some dust settling in on my fire helmet that we hand out after the wins. The Senators have now lost 4 in a row. Could they really have 2 separate 5-game road trips where they don't get a single point this season? We'll find out Thursday. Stay tuned. Ottawa Senators hockey. Feel the buzz. It's coming. And then Friday, at least Shane Pinto gets to come back at practice. Sens fan and Van, again, appreciate you. This is the awkward phase of the core, they say. To quote Pilsy, these guys are people. They're learning how to play defense. Once it's a habit, they'll be better, faster. We're going to play the Jacques Martin audio that comes in later on. I think we figured out a way here to grab it. I hope that's all right.
Are we allowed to do that?
I don't know. We'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I would tell the team if somebody says anything? I would say, we can only describe losses so many different ways. We need the people who are involved to do it, just to explain it to us. Please.
Yeah, no, I'm just worried about the copyright.
Well, it wouldn't be copyright. It would just be the Sens who would be like, hey, like, that's ours. It wouldn't be like, well, who else is going to copyright it?
I don't know. It's above my pay grade. And anyways, getting back to what Sens fan and Van is saying here. Look, I get it. It is going to take time, but like, how low can this team go here? Like, how much we can't. I don't want to reset the rebuild clock just because it's a new ownership group and new management and the team is down in the dumps. Like, I don't know. I don't know how much patience we can be expected to have here, or how much patience the management group or the players are going to have here, because it just seems like it's not going to happen for this group. I don't know. Like, I'm running out of ways to describe how they're finding ways to lose each game, night in and night out. 4-game lose streak, road game continues.
That is the micro. The macro is 4 losses in a row, 3 wins in 10 games since the coaching change. They are 4-11-0 on the road, and they have 6 wins in 21 games since Sweden. So we got more to get to on that. The chat is buzzing. Over 300 people here past midnight Eastern time following this disastrous loss for the Ottawa Senators, but misery loves company, and we appreciate you joining us after each and every game. I feel like tomorrow's episode is going to be a popular one, Pilsy, because I'm digging in to the names available, guys who could help stop the bleeding. There's not one thing. That's the problem, where I can't, it's not like, oh, they need to score goals. Let's look at guys who are historically good goal scorers. It's like every night, it's almost like a mindset. Like, they need to bring in like somebody who has a strong mental fortitude. Are there any NHLers with a psychology degree? Because that should be the number one prerequisite for who Ottawa should be trading for right now, is somebody who's been through the battles. I don't know if I'm going to set like a minimum games played, but it has to be somebody who's, been in tough moments and come out on the right side of it. Because right now it is a house of cards. And when one thing goes wrong, the whole thing crumbles. So we'll get into all that more. Pilsy wants to talk about the fourth line. We do have a Sens Central standout, one each on today's show. We'll get to that. But first, a word from our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. The Glebe Central Pub is at 779 Bank Street. You can visit them right in the heart of the Glebe. They've got great food. They've got tasty drinks. They've got the dartboard. We love that. And they always have special events to make everybody feel a part of the community, whether that's live music, open mic night, speed dating. They've got every once in a while there at the Glebe Central Pub, or it's getting Sens fans together because it is a great Senators fan bar. So you can go there for $17 round trip to and from the CTC. Go visit them at glebecentralpub.com and get your tickets for $17. As I mentioned, it's a great deal and it's a great way to take the hassle out of going to the CTC. So go visit them, 779 Bank Street. Let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. The vibes are free at the GCP.
This episode is also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel is the official online sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network for a good reason. They're North America's #1 sportsbook. Why would you go anywhere else, guys? Right now, new customers in the U.S. can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. Math guy, that's $150 on $5 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. We love it.
Hey, I just want to ask you, what do you think the odds are for the Ottawa Senators to make the playoffs this year at FanDuel?
Current, like right now?
Right now.
Oh my God. Plus 5,000?
Plus 1,000. Plus 1,000. Which seems almost
That's
low.
That is so low. I would personally not be going for that, but there's so many other options. You can bet on spreads of games, player props, over-unders, and bet that Ross and I have been chatting a lot about. Calder Trophy, Connor Bedard versus the field. You can bet on the field. That's just one of the fun things you can do at FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get started today. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Tick, 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 tick. Welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller, and we have a 6-3 loss to talk about tonight in Calgary. The Senators have now lost back-to-back games in Alberta, and I feel for the few fans, and one of them has been in our mentions every game day. We love it. We love the photos that we're getting from different fans at each and every game, and I want to give a proper shout-out here because my goodness, Brandon James. Good name, eh?
Great name. Yep. Love it.
Brandon James has gone to the last 4 consecutive games.
Oh, no.
He traveled from Vancouver to Seattle to Edmonton to Calgary, and he got a big fat 0 points in his pocket. We wanted to do this trip, Billsy. Blessing in disguise that it couldn't work.
At least Vancouver, Seattle. I don't know if I would have ranged all the way up to Calgary and Edmonton. That's extra.
It's on the way back.
Yeah, sort of. North leg of the trip. And what a time of year to be doing that. Hopefully, if he was driving, it wasn't too crazy for him. But yeah, that's what you got to expect with the Senators on the road, unfortunately. Now, can you expect much better at home? Not quite, but sheesh. Tough one, Brandon. Tough one.
Yeah, that's real tough. Tough one tonight in the third period where things just completely fell apart. Adam says they're not even halfway through the season either. How do you think Shane Pinto is feeling right now as a guy who's just been stuck on the sidelines watching, waiting for his opportunity, which will start in 12 days' time?
I don't know. It's got to be a weird feeling coming in late to this depressing party. And I honestly, the fit is going to be weird when he gets here. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, you want Shane Pinto on your team, but is Shane Pinto being inserted into this lineup going to solve the issues that are causing this team to find themselves in consistent losing streaks? I don't think so. No offense to Shane Pinto. He's an impactful player, but we just mentioned it off the top. You got to start looking at the top dogs on this team that aren't.
Are they dogs?
Yeah. Are they dogs or are they cats? Kitty cats leaving town. Like this is, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest.
The Brink at All-Star?
Yeah, I was trying to tie it in with the Brink. It couldn't quite do it there. Whoops, swing and a miss. You can't hit them all. But
you're like the Sens third period.
Hopefully not that bad. Jeez, man, come on.
One moment in the third period, Stefan wants to get to as well. Do you think the Norris hit will lead to another long-term injury? That did not look good, and it wasn't a predatory hit. It's just Elias Lindholm caught a rut, and he went down before the contact was made. But a scary collision, but he skated off under his own power. But that's one that's not going to feel good tomorrow morning. Promise you that.
Yeah, and that's one of those, Ross, where you can see he kind of gets bent just a second too long, where he doesn't like slide smoothly out of it. It stays with a little bit of crunch there, kind of the old jackknife. That's not what you want to see, and especially with a guy like Josh Norris with shoulder injury. Good call by Brady calling someone over right away, because that seemed like it would have been a lot worse than I hope it was. It seemed not too bad.
Yeah, and that's like shoulder, neck area. So we know that that's obviously a sensitive area on Josh Norris, but overall, just really, really tough. Really tough overall night tonight because they had 3 separate leads. The first lead, blink and it's gone, 44 seconds.
Yeah, that was the most predictable thing ever, Ross. Like when they scored that goal, I was like, okay, when's Calgary gonna tie it? Like how that's my mindset. Like how long until this game is 1-1 inevitably?
And it was.
Yeah, it didn't take long at all.
So the second goal of the game, awesome first period overall for Ridley Gregg. I thought he was one of the few Senators that he was flying tonight, a +1 in a 6-3 loss, 50% in the dot. Not sure how many he took though. And he played over 16 minutes. So if you're looking for like little bright spots in here, to me, Ridley Gregg would be one, and another would be
He went 5 for 10, Ross.
Oh, great.
Really.
So he actually took 10 draws. Nice. So so that's a good sign. And then Claude Giroux contributing on the power play right away. I thought defensively wasn't his best effort tonight, but just the fact that he was able to immediately make an impact moving up on that top unit, I think that's something that you could work with. And yeah, in terms of diagnosing Josh Norris, a reminder, Pilsy, you are not a doctor.
No, I'm really not a doctor. Why were people getting on that analysis?
Well, no, you did your best.
Okay, I didn't preface that I wasn't a doctor. Usually I do that just in case.
Some people in the chat might have been wondering where if your white coat was just out of the picture.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So at any point in this game, do you think they're going to win?
Nope. Like I mentioned, I was feeling almost a little sense of pride, Ross, after that first period when they got that late goal. I was like, oh, good job, guys. Like, nice. Okay. We're rolling along here. That's a good momentum goal. And then at the end of the second, I'm like, whew, holding on. And then the third period, yeah. Like at no point, even with the Ottawa Senators getting the lead multiple times, did I think they were in a position to win this game. No chance.
I'm so excited to hear from Jacques Martin because I'm seeing multiple people on Twitter and in the chat as well who are saying that basically they don't listen. They have to play a way better away from the puck, and they have to suck it up when they face adversity. So, yeah. I agree. Jacques Martin doesn't have time for this garbage. This guy's 71 years old, and he came out from being a helping hand in the OHL, being like, yeah, I'm going to help young coaches get better. And now he's a National Hockey League head coach whose team just won't put a 60-minute effort together.
Yeah, I don't know. It's honestly baffling, Ross. Like it's baffling that this team, this roster, and now you can't even put injuries as an excuse. Yeah. Is this bad?
So Steve G, again, appreciate you. He's not a math guy either, so he fits right in the postcast. Good. Is under 900 save percentage good for Korpisalo? The answer is no, guy. But at the same time, like, there are a lot of broken plays, a lot of plays that, like, I'm not blaming Korpisalo for tonight's loss.
No, but that should be the catch. This should be the catchphrase of this friggin' postcast. I feel like almost every day, and I'm guilty of it as well, saying, you know what? No, I'm not putting this on the goalies. Yeah, that's fine and well once in a while, but you're looking at Korpisalo and Forsberg both well over 3 goals against and well under 900 save percentage. Like, they just don't instill any confidence that this team, if there is adversity that the rest of them face, the goalies aren't going to bail them out.
No,
I don't mean that to be rude towards the goalies. That's just a matter of fact.
And with that, players subconsciously will play a different style when they're trying to not make mistakes. Great and time. Then ironically, then they make more mistakes and it all falls apart even more.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Swanky Pants also wants his fantasy here. He's getting a little personal with us, is to slap some sense into the boys and swindle John Tortorella, or I'd imagine a like-minded coach, because John Tortorella is probably a finalist for the Jack Adams this year. You're not getting him out of Philly. He's already got his contract, so he's not going to be, demanding his way out before he even gets one. But no, all jokes aside, we saw Jacques Martin. It wasn't as outward, but he was giving it to some guys tonight. Dominic Kubalik was caught on the broadcast. They got him kind of, having a word with him. They didn't really pinpoint a shift or something where something happened with Kubalik. He obviously scored the goal there at the end of the first period, but clearly it was something with the details that wasn't jiving with Jacques Martin, because he gave him an extended talking to, we'll say.
Yeah, I don't know what for, Ross. I don't know when that happened. I thought Kubalik had a decent game, especially as far as Kubalik goes.
Yeah, Hot Lunch saying only one of Korpisalo's last 10 games has been above 900.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Ross. I was thinking today, like, I feel like we give Corpy a bit of a leash because maybe he hasn't had as many, like, just absolutely terrible games like Forsberg has. But you look at the games played, or games started. 22 games started for Korpisalo, 7 wins. Anton Forsberg has 8 less starts and the same amount of wins. Now, is either of those good? God, no. But, I don't know. I feel like both of these goalies deserve equal amount of blame, and Korpisalo isn't able to get it done any more than Forsberg is.
Yeah, and people in the chat are also saying, and I have noticed this too, Korpisalo's got to lead the league in times where he ends up on his stomach. He's just flailed out.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I feel like, though, Ross, again, this is probably the goalie hugger in me, but the defensive structure and how bad they are cause him to have to dive and sprawl around. He's not able to play a clean, structured game in there because it's just complete chaos.
Spencer mentions he doesn't know if the team respects Jacques Martin. Well, that's a team problem. That's not a Jacques Martin problem. I think his resume speaks for itself. If these players think they're too good to play for Jacques Martin, that would, I don't think that's the case, but that would be mind-blowing to me.
Especially, I feel like, Ross, it's wild that we've kind of blown over this. Daniel Alfredsson is on that bench. There is maybe Jacques Martin, that's a weird situation. Older guy coming in, he gets a advisor job. It's okay, what's up with this? And now he's the head coach. That's weird. But Daniel Alfredsson has been around this team a bunch this year. He was on the bench in Sweden, and he's the assistant coach now. I feel like if we would have told past Ross and Pilsy in the offseason, Alfie's going to be an assistant coach, we would have been freaking out way more about this. But now, since the team's been so bad, I feel like it's now a thing oh, let's sweep it under the rug. Let's not fully recognize that this is Alfie in his first stint as an assistant coach here. So it can't be that they're just not jiving with Jacques Martin, because I got to think Alfie's playing a big part here. And
they're trying.
I also have to think that the players have the utmost respect for Daniel Alfredsson, because that's kind of been reflected throughout this season.
Dude, if they don't, that's a them problem. It's the same thing of the conversation where if guys are asking out, it's okay, well, then you're part of the problem. It's just if you're not having respect for the do you think they're just not capable? That's kind of what I'm working my way down here on, is this team might just not be capable.
And yeah, Ross, maybe that's just it. We spend hundreds of hours trying to figure this team out. Maybe just this collection of guys, they're just not going to be able to get it done. I don't know.
But like I said before, Pilsy, individually, they've all had success at different levels. It just so that's why it doesn't make sense to me, because on their own,
make sense.
They're all good players. So why can't they play together? Well, and sorry, they're 4-12 on the road. I had 4-11. So my goodness, that was before this debacle. So Scott, appreciate you, man. Even though you suck at fantasy hockey in the Patreon league. No, he does.
Whoa.
He's 17th place at 18. So
the
knows
bounces
it.
aren't going his way. The bounces
he knows
are not
it.
going his way.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, Scott, we appreciate, man. Recent Central Citizen as well.
Really, what I was trying to do there was cover some of the bottom teams, so it didn't look like the Sens were as bad. But
well, yeah, we pulled up the standings right now, and guess what? Ottawa's next 2 games, the Buffalo Sabres, 27th in the league, and the San Jose Sharks, 32nd in the league.
And the Sharks just lost 7-1 to the Leafs, now on a 12-game losing streak. But they're trying to be bad. They're trying to be bad. The Ottawa Senators are on a 4-game losing streak, and they're doing everything in their power financially. They've switched the GM, the coach. They brought a Hall of Famer onto the bench. They are doing everything they can to be good, and they are almost as bad as the San Jose Sharks.
So disappointing.
Yep.
Do you think the San Jose Sharks get their streak snapped against Ottawa? They got one more game. They got Montreal.
Ross, I've done this before, but I am once again responsibly betting a good amount of money on the Ottawa Senators to win that game. They have to. They have to win that game up against the Sharks at home.
Yeah, at home they won their first 3 home games, right? Yeah, they won their first 3 home games.
Better than on the road.
And then 2 of them were in Sweden, which is not their home.
No, it's going to be... Yeah,
so that means they're 5-10 at the CTC.
It's going to be get your cookie night. Get your cookie evening on Saturday up against the Sharks. It has to be. It has to be. This team needs just a morale boost. I need a morale boost. I hit the panic button. I was trying to hold off as long as I could to not hit that panic button.
Until Shane Pinto got back.
Couldn't even make it to half the season. Smashed it. And yeah, I wish it would come from Amazon sooner, but I'm gonna be way past smashing the panic button in weeks when that thing comes in from Amazon.
You actually ordered it though?
Well, should I order it? Because I hesitated because I was like, this is way too far into the season.
No. Order it.
Okay, I will order it and
order it. And if they lose against Buffalo, I'll order one too.
All right, you'll match. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love matching panic button.
Sense Van and Van, have you ever felt worse than this after a loss? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
The 6-game road trip was the worst one because at that point there was still hope.
Dude, I know it's a joke and it keeps going on, but I cannot describe to you how down in the dumps I felt being live at that Chicago game and all the circumstances. Like, go watch that postcast. Shout out Jack for sticking with me on that postcast because I was spiraling and I was tired and I was so distraught about that 5-0 loss in Chicago. Go look at that if you want to see the worst I've felt after a loss. My God.
Pills, you want to react to that from Can't Control Life?
Nah, overreacting, Pillsy. 20 points back. We okay. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? There's hope. As Brady Kachuk said on After Hours not too long ago. The St. Louis Blues were in last place around this time.
Oh my God. Rudy wants me at the Nodak game Friday night. If I wasn't working, I'd be there, brother. I need some victories, and that's a team that can get it done. Even though Belleville got it done this last weekend in Manitoba as well. But dude, we got Belleville 6 straight wins, going for 7 tomorrow back home. Crooker
and they're playing the Moose back home.
Yeah, Yuri Smak on the lineup as well. Yeah, going to be really interesting to see what's going on with the Belleville Sens, and maybe, just maybe, we get to see Ridley Gregg down there as well at the end of the year, making a little push. But no, this team is I think too far gone to be like so down in the dumps about it. This is just a team where it's like we just got to figure out what's next, right? Like the team as we know it is cooked. They're cooked.
The season is cooked. Dude,
the Jets just extended their streak of 3 or less goals against in a game to 30. Ottawa's allowed more than 3 goals. Not 3. Wait, is it 3? 3 or more. 3 or more goals in more than half of their last 30 games.
Yeah.
They're just not gonna win this.
Ross, both their goalies are above 3 goals against average. Like
Scott's asking if the whole rebuild's cooked. Are you of that mind? Because that would mean like Timmy Brady. Like then you're rebuilding all over again, right?
No, like no matter what, you keep Timmy, Brady, and Sandy. No matter what.
So retool.
Now, sure, if that's what we want to recall it.
Splinter's got to go see Dashy. Shout out Mary J's.
Yeah, good call. Dashy, absolute beauty. Check him out. Any 4 locations in Ottawa, Mary J's Dispensary. But yeah, this is bad, and this is what I've been talking about. I really thought they would mix in a bridge deal with at least one of these guys. They've locked them all long term. Now, maybe this ends up being a good thing, but man, you're playing with fire, having so many guys, and so much money tied up and locked down for the next like 6 to 8 years. So we better hope they find a way to turn it around here. And maybe it's something that takes time. We got to remember these guys are still young. All of them coming off. These are the first deal after their entry level deal. When I'm talking about Brady, Timmy, Sanderson, Norris. So it might take time, but man, we've done time.
Yeah,
Watching this team be in the basement of the league year in and year out.
So it's a shakeup, according to Alex. Like, what's a shakeup? Because there was a discussion, and maybe we can get into this as one of the final topics here on the postcast, and what we should do here. And we got a lot of Winnipeg in the chat as well. Shane's here too, and yeah, Ottawa plays Winnipeg next Saturday. That's gonna be funny.
Yeah,
that's gonna be hilarious. Rachel do the postcast for that one for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, she's been begging to do it. Rach and Simone should do the postcast one day.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
It'd actually be hilarious. But no, when I'm looking at this blue line, and we kind of knew it going in, where it's like, who's playing the right side? It's going to come down to Chychrun or Chabot, is it not?
Like one of them eventually is going to get moved over?
No, moved out.
Oh, moved out. Yeah.
But here's the thing. What if you trade Chabot and then Chychrun won't re-sign? Because the day that Chabot's no movement clause kicks in is the day that Chychrun is able to re-sign.
Yeah. I think Chychrun would stay, but I mean,
stressful.
Who knows? I'm not ready to go there yet.
Well, where are you going to go? Because that's a shakeup. Shakeup would not be moving Jacob Chychrun. And I saw I get it. There's vultures out there. Other teams want Jacob Chychrun, so they're going to put in the media that, oh, look, they're not saying no. They're going to try to cause chaos and all that. Jacob Chychrun's been here less than 50 games. You mentioned Jack Richardson, good friend of the show. He mentioned too. He's like, that's not a shakeup. Like, same with DeBrincat moving out. Like, that's not shaking things up.
Or Tarasenko or Kubalik, yeah.
The longest serving senator, that's a shakeup. That gets people's attention.
Yeah.
It has to be one of the $8 million men.
Yeah, it does. I hate to say it. Well, I don't know. I don't hate it that much, but Norris is probably the other guy you're looking at. But man, that is a monster contract that maybe other teams don't see the potential.
Yeah, those two guys you're probably,
because look, like up the middle, if you got Timmy, Pinto, yeah, whatever draft pick that's probably going to come in here. But regardless of that, Timmy, Pinto, Greg, and Casti, like maybe with time, Pinto can be that second line center if he has the right wingers, and maybe that's a lineup down the middle that could work. But I don't know.
Dan mentioning as well, Drake Batherson would be a shakeup. I mean, he's making less, so other teams could give more.
No. I think trading Batherson would be such a mistake. That's such a good contract. Yeah, Batherson is not the guy I want to trade. I think you're muted, Ross. That's a contract that I would want to keep here.
Yeah, sorry, my microphone unplugged itself right there. Scott asks as well, what's a timeline on not being embarrassed to be a Sens fan? Not Saturday, because there's no win in that game. You either likely extend San Jose's losing streak to 14 games, or you're the team that breaks the streak.
Yeah, that's not a measuring stick game, or that's one you just go in there, get the win, and move on. So hopefully they can do that.
Maybe. Yeah. Should we sit? I want to hear what he sounds like. Okay, is that okay? Just for a minute.
Sure.
I really want to know what Jacques thinks of this game. I want to hear it with the people.
Okay.
Okay, let's hear from Jacques Martin following disappointing effort, to say the least. I'm going to jump out of it at a certain point because we don't need to hear all 3.5 minutes. You can head over to the Ottawa Senators social media page for more, also available on their YouTube. There's credit. The credit goes to the Ottawa Senators for this clip. Here's Jacques Martin post-game. Classic.
Come on, Jacques.
The first time it's ever happened. This is how he's feeling about the team right now. Let's get a little refresh going on here. It's never happened. Got him?
Self-inflicted wounds here tonight, Coach.
Well, I think it's two ways of looking at it. I thought we had a good effort. I thought we won the specialty team game. Thought our penalty killing was good. We got a power play goal. Out of the first 4 goals, we gave them 2. So, like, to me, those are things we could correct. Like, we got the puck 5 feet inside the blue line. We don't get it out. We turn it over. It ends up in our net. So those are things that we got to learn. We got to be patient. I thought we played really well for 2 periods. And then in the third, like, once they got ahead, then, we just sell the farm. But, I can't blame the effort. I think we had a good effort. It's just we got to have better performance of certain guys, but we can't give those goals up.
Big challenge for you and your staff trying to sell those positives going into the next game?
Well, I think you got a choice. Either sulk or you're gonna take it and be a man and want to get better. I mean, like, there's no choice. I mean, like, we've got some good talent. We just got to learn to play without the puck. Be more efficient without the puck. I mean, like, we make it too easy for the opposition.
You say you can't fault the effort in the third period, but how do you explain how things got away from the team?
Well, I think they scored right in the first minute of the third period. Then they got ahead. Then we revert. We're trying to get the goal. We cheat. We don't do as good defending, and it cost us. But I think the game was lost to me in the first 2 periods when we gave those 2 goals that we shouldn't have gave, because we should have had the puck out of our zone. We got to be better at. We go back. We have chance of moving the puck quickly, get out. We take it back. D to D, take it back. Can't play that way.
When the team's now lost 4 in a row on an important road trip, how do you keep the morale high?
Well, I think you just bring the positive points and you keep teaching. I think we have some talent. We just gotta there's positive points. Special teams were good tonight, both penalty killing and power play. We had some chances. And I thought for 2 periods we were very good. So we just got to keep hammering away and learn how to play away from the puck.
You're sensing a lot of frustration from the team?
Well, maybe like in the end, but that's part of people care. That's I don't mind that. That's fine. Tomorrow's another day, and you got to look at the bright side of things.
Is the team mature enough to do some inner soul searching?
Well, I think, at some point you got to mature. That's part of the business. I mean, they're professionals. So they're learning to be professional at the same time, So I think, it's we'll have a good meeting tomorrow when we get to Buffalo. We'll discuss things and we'll go from there.
You had a conversation, too, at some point with Dom Kubalik in the game. What were you saying to him?
Well, I can't remember now, but I think it's just, I think was a situation where we had just scored the goal and he was late on the back check. So we gave them a great opportunity. They could have tied. So you got to learn to play away from the puck.
There's head coach Jacques Martin, courtesy of the Ottawa Senators. They post that after the game on their social media. Pillsy, your thoughts as you listened to Jacques?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what he's saying is kind of what we're talking about, and I love kind of the different vocabulary he uses. Be a man. I mean, fair. Like, these guys are all professional athletes, men, young men. Like, you got to look at this and say, how are we going to react? We can't keep having this same result over and over again. And he talks about some positives. We mentioned it. I forget if it was on air before, Ross, but this team does win the special teams battle, which is rare for them. And you got to take some momentum from that there. They win the face-off battle. So you got to draw some positives, but a lot of it is just simple mistakes that are leading to opportunities for bad bounces and bad goaltending to get it in the way and allow these losses to continue to pile up here.
I hate that so much, but I do like what Jacques Martin did say there. It's a great one. The be a man, I think, is elite. I think we might have to clip that and throw it on the soundboard as well. Also, you can't do that is a great one-liner as well. You can't do that. They simply cannot do what they've done here. Sens fan and Van, just so appreciative of what you bring each and every time the vibes to the postcast. In this game, it is venting. They're saying it's the awkward phase. It really is. It's a man's league. Become a man, not a boy. A little throwback to what he said to Jason Spezza back 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And now he's still, dealing with kids who have a ton of skill, but are just struggling to get it together for a consistent effort. And now you're at the phase of it too, where it's the awkward phase, but it's also the have to dig deep phase because they are so frustrated. Their confidence is low. Eric's saying we're in hockey puberty, but it's like, I mean, my goodness, we're at the back of the class right now. It's really tough to see teams jumping you in the standings and losses in hand are just growing. Like there's no games in hand. Like they've lost 4 in a row. It's just brutal. It really is brutal.
Yeah, it's tough that these keep slipping away from them. And this is an example where the Ottawa Senators players have to be kicking themselves, being like, man, we were so close to stopping this skid, getting a morale boost. Sure, you're still on the road, but going back east up against a division rival that's also struggling, like you almost put a stopgap in the bleeding and allowed a fresh slate so that you could go to Buffalo, hopefully get a win there, and then go home up against the Sharks and start something here. But instead, it continues on here.
Penalty 6-5 would be an improvement. I was going to say 6-3 5-game losing streak, but the numbers in my head, I decided to say it a different way. Senators lose 6-3 tonight to the Calgary Flames. It's a game where you can only describe it as disheartening, disappointing, and really an implosion in the third period where the Senators went from up 3-2 heading into the third period to a 6-3 loss. And here's a stat for you. Here's a stat you can bring to the water cooler on a Wednesday at work in Ottawa. The Ottawa Senators are 11-11 when they score first. They have a 50-50 chance of winning when they get a 1-0 head start.
Yeah, that's brutal. And I bet if you look around the league, those numbers are so different because at least usually gambling lines, the team that scores first to win is almost always minus odds, like it's a favorite.
Well, you want to know just as embarrassing of a stat? Senators are 3-3 when they're leading after 2 periods on the road.
Oh, man.
Dallas, Arizona, and tonight, right?
Yeah.
So they're all in the last month.
They can't close out games.
They can't. And we can't close out shows because we have too many people enjoying our misery here night in and night out. We didn't even get to a Sen Central standout presented by the Glebe Central Pub. Pilsy, is there anyone you'd like to highlight in this game?
There actually is. And Ross, it was my locked on player, Mark Kostelic. I thought he had a good game. He had to make a statement here. He has 3 hits, 1 shot. I wanted him to be better in the faceoff dot. He was a lot better than he had been recently. He goes 6 for 7 in the dot, so you love to see that. Good for 86%. I thought he was a good net front presence in front of that second power play unit. So for a guy that was kind of being given a life raft here with an opportunity on that power play unit, I thought he had a good night. So, but I mean, I'm highlighting the 4th centerman that played 10 minutes tonight. Like that's
9:41.
This is where we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately.
Yeah, for me, if I'm going to highlight someone, it's Ridley Gregg. 2 assists both in the first period, +1 player in this game. And for me, just a guy who never takes a shift off. And there's going to be many more goals where he's just laying in the crease right out front and, causing havoc. So I think that Ridley Gregg, this to me, and again, you can go back to the puberty comment by Sens fan and Van, but it really is, to me, Ridley Gregg getting important games here to get up to speed as an everyday NHLer. And I know it's a more, a moral victory, which we aren't very fond of, but I thought he had a good game. The problem is when Zach McEwen leads the team in expected goals for percentage.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Ross. I thought that whole fourth line was really good tonight. We already kind of gave them credit for that play where they keep the puck in the zone that allows the third line to come in and mop it up and get the goal offensively. But a lot of the times when I saw that fourth line out there, they were at least generating offense, and their Corsi numbers were pretty good as well. I had them pulled up here. Yeah, I've got them here. 71.43 Corsi 4 percentage. Like that's well above 50%. So look, it's a low kind of spot to congratulate a team that just lost 6-3. But hey, I'll give the fourth line credit when they deserve it, and I thought they deserved it tonight.
Yeah, I do too. And look, there is a lot of interest coming in the next week around this team. How is Shane Pinto going to fit into the equation? And what is the first trade that Steve Staios will make? They moved the general manager, they moved the head coach, and now it's going to come down to the players because the Ottawa Senators simply do not want to win hockey games. At least that's what they're showing the fans with their performances in critical situations. Final note from me, and that is the three-headed monster of the Senators management team, Dave Poulin, Steve Staios, and Ryan Bonus, in no particular order. Obviously, Steve Staios is the head of that department, the president of hockey operations and general manager. They were all at the game in Tampa tonight. The Tampa Bay Lightning hosted the LA Kings, where, by the way, Pierre-Luc Dubois, fourth-line center by the end of that game, just to mention. So, big trades don't always work out, right? And they can, even the good teams can swing and miss. And Tampa got a 3-2 overtime win in that game. Dean Brown, though, clarifying, because everyone was like, whoa, all three of them are at the game? Like, is something brewing? Well, the Senators are having their annual scouting meetings in Florida, so not a bad place to be. Would you rather be in northern, anywhere in Canada, really, up north, or in Florida in the middle of January? So I think I'll just leave it at that, but feel free to speculate if you want. LA and Tampa, who would be some players that you would like? From the Pills, you got anything? Oh, the people want to spin.
Yeah, that was my final thought was going to be let's do some spins.
Well, I was just going to say because Anaheim, not in points percentage. It's just in regular points. So we got to wait another week before Anaheim actually jumps Ottawa in the lottery standings. This is so pathetic, dude.
It's sad. It's sad that I've given into this, Ross. Usually I'm the one against this and I'm holding on to optimism, but I'm just submissive to the spins.
I like the polite nature of Peter here. One spin, please.
Can I have a spin?
Can we please have a spin, sir? You guys can have a spin if we get a like. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. And by the way, there's 317 people here. I'm expecting at least 50 new reviews on Apple. That's something we want to keep rolling in here in the new year. It's been a little while. It takes 2 seconds. If you just go to the Apple app of podcasts and just leave a 5-star review, you can say Zoob, you can say Pain, you can say Spin. You can say spin. For every spin we get in a 5-star review, I'll do 5 spins next Postcast.
Whoa.
So there's the challenge for you guys. If you want spins, that's how you're going to get it. Go review the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Pilsy, we're going to do 2 spins for the people and 1 for each of us, okay?
I want the last spin.
Okay, so I'll do the citizen spin, my spin, the citizen spin, your spin.
Let's do it.
This is for the people. That's the worst. That is the worst. We've got Tampa Bay moving up 10 spots.
My God.
1. Columbus at number 2, jumping up 3 spots. And Ottawa goes down 2 spots to draft 6th over.
That's insane.
Oh, okay. Now it's my spin. Buffalo gets to draft first overall for the how many time? Like them in Edmonton, my goodness, save some for the rest of us. Everyone else drops down 1 spot, so Ottawa drafts 5th. All right, citizens, you better do me well here. This is an embarrassment if you guys drop 2 spots again. Here we go. Worst.
Okay, that's really bad as well. Yep.
Anaheim jumps up 2 spots to number 1. Montreal up 6 spots to number 2. Ottawa down 1 spot at least, just down 1 spot. But Montreal jumping up. That's awful. All right, Billsy, here you go. Ottawa goes down 1 spot to 5. Columbus jumps up 3 spots to number 2. That might have been our least successful Tankathon spin yet.
can't
But we
even lose properly. Ugh.
we appreciate. No, people are saying keep going till we win. No, we can't do that.
No,
We have to
can't.
decide beforehand how many we're going to do, and we leave it at that. And negative capabilities is bringing the negativity here. We suck at sucking. I'm actually going to I'm going to reach out because we want to we use Gator merch for our merch store. You can go check out the merch store. I want to add some toxic positivity hats to the mix here. So
yeah, and we need some tanking shirts.
Should we should really get in on the tank because it's real. It's here.
It's here. It's here.
It's here.
Not even I can spin zone out of this.
Oh my god. Should we just have a hat or a shirt that just says spin? People will be like, what?
Yeah, or we'll get a shirt that actually has like a spinner on it.
Yes, exactly. And with you and me on either side holding the thing.
Yeah.
My goodness. All right. The ideas are brewing. Appreciate everyone for being here after every Ottawa Senators game. Win or lose, we vent or vibe. Nice to hear from the coach. Maybe we'll start doing that a little bit more often as well. And we're looking forward. We got Mark Mathot coming on next week and a whole lot else right here on the Locked On Senators podcast, where we have your team every day. We are your home for Senators hockey. We are the show for fans, by fans. I mean, you're not going to get this kind of passion on TSN. You're not going to get it on Sportsnet. You're not going to get it anywhere but right here on Locked On Senators. So really appreciate you all. Let's get some Go Sens Goes in the chat. We really appreciate you guys coming in here, standing out with us. It's late. It's everyone's crabby. Everyone's moving around. And we got Locked On Senators tomorrow. Also, leave a comment below on the actual video, not in the chat, in the video, of who you want to target in the trade market. Okay. That's something that we're going to look at in the morning, and we'll bring that up during tomorrow's Locked On Senators. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another depressing edition of the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure you go check out the Glebe Central Pub for tasty food, great drinks, awesome atmosphere. It's all available at the Glebe Central Pub. Go check them out, 779 Bank Street. And let's take you out with that same ominous music that we brought it in. The Sens lose 6-3 to the Calgary Flames. They are now 0-4 on this 5-game road trip that ends Thursday in Buffalo.